Welcome, math friends. We are going to learn how to write the equation of a line if you are given the slope and a point to go along with it. Let's recall slope-intercept form. That is y equals mx plus b. It's called slope-intercept form because it has a slope and the intercept. We define m to be the slope. We use that as its representation. And we use b to represent the y-intercept. There is also point slope form, which uses a point and a slope to write an equation. In both of these equations, you'll see x and y without any subscript that is left in the equation. In the first equation, m and b are both represented by a number. In the second equation, x1 and y1 are actually the coordinates of a point that you're given, and m represents the slope. You can use either equation to write an equation of a line. I find that if you're given the slope and a point, it is easiest to just use the point slope form. And then if you need to get it into y equals mx plus b or slope intercept form, then you can do that. So let's say I have the slope of 2 and it goes through the point 1, 4. That means if I was to graph this, I could plot the point 1, 4, and then I could go up 2 and over 1 or down 2 and left 1 to graph my line. But if I want an equation, I'm going to use point slope form. And my y and my x are not going to change. They're just going to be y and x. I'm going to leave that in the equation. But where I see y1, I'm going to put the y value. And where I see x1, I'm going to put the x value from the point. We're going to call x1 1, and we're going to call y1 4. I'm going to substitute those values in. That means I have y minus 4 equals, the slope is 2, times x minus 1. And unless you are given direction as to what form you need your answer in, this is a perfectly acceptable equation of a line. Let's say your instructor says you need to get this in slope-intercept form, then that means I need to distribute the 2, and I also need to isolate the variable y. Distributing the 2 would give me y minus 4 equals 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And then isolating the y by adding 4 to both sides is going to give me y equals 2x plus 2 as my equation in slope-intercept form. You've seen point slope form and slope-intercept form. Those are both the same equation of a line. They graph the same line. With a slope of 0, I'm going to substitute that in. I'm going to have y minus y1, in this case is 10, equals 0 times x minus x1 is 4. That is point slope form. However, 0 times something is 0, which means that 0 times x and 0 times negative 4 is 0. And I would have y minus 10 equals 0. Adding 10 to both sides gives me y equals 10 in slope-intercept form. Both of these are acceptable answers. I think that y equals 10 is a little bit more clear and cleaner. What if I have a fraction and a ordered pair that doesn't play well with this fraction? What am I going to do? Point slope form, y minus y1 in this case is 5 equals slope, negative 1/3, x minus x1 is negative 3 in this case. Minus a minus becomes a plus. When you're subtracting a negative, it's the same thing as adding. You have y minus 5 equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. I'm going to distribute the negative 1/3. Negative 1/3 times x is negative 1/3 x. Negative 1/3 times 3, a third of 3 is 1. A negative times a positive is a negative. That becomes negative 1. That's nice and clean so far. Now remember, that first equation was an equation of a line. Unless you are instructed to give a different version, this is totally acceptable as an answer. Adding 5 to both sides to isolate that y gives me y equals negative 1/3 x minus 1 plus 5. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4 is my solution. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.